Okay, this is Professor Sue again with Part B of Section 3.1, where we're just starting to learn about the integers, which are the positives and the negatives. So Loa's going to do one more greater than or less than. So is negative 3 less than or greater than positive 3? So if we remember from our number line, here's 3, here's negative 3. So is negative 3 smaller or bigger than positive 3? So what would you say? I would say, since negative 3 is on the negative side, it's smaller, it's less than. So I'm going to say negative 3 is less than positive 3. And that's all you have to do is put the correct symbol on the homework in the box. Okay, so let's talk about the rest of this section. They talk about opposites. Okay. So opposites are numbers that are the same distance from 0 on the number line. Okay. So opposites are numbers that are the same distance from 0 on the number line. So just a quickie number line here. So we say that negative 1 and 1 are opposites. And we also say that negative 2 and 2 are opposites. So you do not need to draw these on the number line. They're just going to ask you for what is the opposite of 5. All you have to do is change the sign and say negative 5. What's the opposite of What is the opposite of 10? Well, it's just negative 10. What's the opposite of negative 7? It's positive 7. So just take that number and change the sign. If it's positive, change it to negative. If it's negative, change it to positive. So opposites, same number, different signs. So on the homework, they're going to ask for what is the opposite of a number, like 10. And you just change the sign. The opposite of 10 is negative 10. So it's kind of like his partner, they're partners on either side of the 0. That's all that opposites are. Okay, is that good? And we're also going to be evaluating, and I know we've done that before. So, do we remember what evaluate means in math? Evaluate means just to plug in right? So they're going to give us everything we need. Let's say they say on the homework, evaluate big B. When B is -3. So all we're going to do is take this -3 and plug it in for B. So when we take that -3 and plug it in for B, it's just going to be -3. So my answer is -3. So we're just plugging in -3 for B. Let's go a little harder. Let's evaluate -P when P is 9. So evaluate just means to plug in. I know that P is 9, so I'm taking the 9 and I'm plugging it in for P, and it's got a negative on the outside, so that's just going to come along with it. So I'm taking 9 and plugging it in for P. So here's the P, and I'm bringing the negative along with it. So -9 is my answer. Okay. Let's do another evaluate -P when P is -5. Okay, so evaluate means to plug in. So I know P is -5, right? I know P is -5, so I'm going to take this -5 and I'm going to replace that P, take out that P, and put in a -5. So here's what I have. Okay, here's the P, and then I'm bringing down this negative. So P is -5. I'm plugging that in for P. P is -5. This is the P right here. And then I bring down the negative. Does anybody know what it means when we have a double negative? Or two negatives together like that? So double negative, I don't know if you may know already, double negative means, what if I'm taking the opposite of -5 is a way to look at it. What's the opposite of -5? The opposite of -5 we just learned is +5. So we can think of a double negative means positive, if that's easier. So when I have two negatives together, I can think of it as either taking the opposite of -5 and getting +5, or we can think of a double negative or two negatives together meaning a positive. So my answer here is just +5. Okay. And if you need more examples of that, I know there's a few problems on the homework where they have you evaluate problems just like this. I got these off the homework. So if you're still, and sometimes these can be a little sticky, if you're still having trouble with the evaluate part of the homework, let me know, and I can do some more. Well, now we're going to do the rest of 3.1, and the rest of 3.1 is absolute value. So the rest of 3.1, I'm going to finish it here, is absolute value. And absolute value looks like this. Sorry about that. It has some type of number between two bars. So if you see a number between two bars, that means absolute value. And in here could be a positive number or a negative number. It doesn't matter. So absolute value is the distance from 0. You can think about it like that. So this would be 3. Absolute value of 3 is 3. Because there are 3 steps from 0 to get to 3. If you don't like that, I got another way. Or absolute value is 3. Because the number will always come out positive. Will always come out of the bars positive. So whichever way you want to look at it, if it's easier for you to do on a number line, you can count over from 0, and you know there's 3 jumps from 0 to 3. So absolute value of 3 is 3. Or if you want to look at this and see I've got a 3 in the 3 between the 2 bars, and that's going to come out positive because absolute value, the number will always come out positive. It'll always come out positive. So what if I had the absolute value of -6? So anything between 2 bars means absolute value. So I'm taking the absolute value of -6. There's 6 jumps from 0 to 6. So absolute value, if you're doing it with a number line, that's 6. And we know that we've got a negative in here, and absolute value always comes out of the 2 bars positive. So this will just be a +6. So either way you look at it, absolute value of -6 is +6. If there's a negative in there, it's going to come out positive. So if you have the absolute value of -11, let's say, what's the absolute value of -11? Well, it's negative, so it comes out +11. So just to recap, when it's a positive number in between the absolute value bars, it's going to come out positive. If there's a negative number between the absolute value bars, it's going to come out positive. It comes out positive whether it's positive or negative inside the 2 bars. And 0, absolute value of 0 is just 0 because he's neither positive nor negative. And let me do one more with 2 inside, and that'll be it. So what if we had the absolute value of 4 minus 2? So I'm going to do 4 minus 2, and that's 2. And the 2 is already positive, so he's just going to stay positive, and absolute value of 2 is 2. What if I have the absolute value of 7 minus 3? First I'm going to do 7 minus 3. I'm going to carry the bars over. What's 7 minus 3? Is 4. And the absolute value of 4, it's positive 4, so he stays positive 4. So for the first one, we got an answer of 2, and the second one, we got an answer of 4. So do your adding or subtracting first inside here, and then carry it over, take the absolute value, and that'll be your final answer. So that is section 3.1, A and B. And I will see you for the next video, will be section 3.2.